Good morning, friends. Yesterday we looked at some word problems and we used some graphic organizers to help us understand what was going on in the word problem and to kind of think through how we might be solving the problems, but we never actually took the time to solve word problems yesterday. Well, today our learning target is that I can solve a single step word problem. I will know I have it when I determine if I am estimating or finding an exact answer, determine if I am adding or subtracting, and use my strategies to solve. So the only difference today is that we are actually going to take the time to solve our word problems instead of just simply talking through what we're going to do. Okay, so our first problem says that Miss Fick and Mrs. Germano are trying to win the box top contest. Miss Fick collected 765 box tops, and Mrs. Germano collected 598 box tops. How many box tops did they collect altogether? The first thing I want to do is circle my important numbers in my problem, and then I want to underline the question, how many box tops did they collect altogether? And I know that a key math word is altogether, so I'm going to go ahead and box that for myself. And then I know that it's really important and really helpful if I retell what's happening in the problem. So I know that Miss Fick has some box tops, and Mrs. Germano also has some box tops, and we want to know what happens when we put them together. So it sounds like I am finding an exact answer because it doesn't say about or approximately, it just says altogether. So I know that I'm going to be finding an exact answer. Now, you may have heard me say that Miss Fick has something and Mrs. Germano also has something. So I know that the number that Miss Fick has is part of the whole. And I know that the number that Mrs. Germano has is also a part of the whole because we want to find out what happens when we put those numbers together. I'm going to come over, and since I know I'm going to be adding, I'm going to stack my numbers, and I'm going to add that addition symbol because I'm taking two parts and I'm pushing them together to figure out what the total is. I know that 5 plus 8 is 13, 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 6 is 16, 7 plus 1 is 8, and 8 plus 1 is 13. Since I don't have a thousands place or anything to add, I'm just going to go ahead and put my 1 in the thousands place. And so my final answer is that Mrs. Germano and Miss Fick have 1,363 box tops all together. That's my whole. Okay, so our next problem says that together Ryan and Austin have 3,458 crayons. Ryan has 1,873 crayons. About how many crayons does Austin have? Well, the first thing I want to go ahead and do is circle my important numbers. And I'm going to put a box around some important key math words like about and how many. I'm also going to take the time to underline the question so I know that what is being asked. The next step I know is to go ahead and retell what's happening in the story. So I know that Ryan and Austin have something all together, and I know that Ryan has a certain number of crayons, and I don't know what Austin has. I also know that the question is asking me to find out about how many crayons. So that word about tells me that I don't need to find an exact answer. I just need to find an estimated answer about. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to my part-whole diagram. And I know that Ryan and Austin all together have 3,458 crayons. And I know the number of crayons that Ryan has, but I don't know how many crayons Austin has. So when I'm taking a whole and trying to find one of the parts, I know that I'm going to subtract to find my answer. So then I'm going to go off to the side here, And I'm going to rewrite my numbers, adding in that subtraction symbol. And I remember from the question that we are finding about how many. So I'm going to go ahead and round my numbers. And I remember from a few weeks ago in a video I watched that we always round to the greatest place value when we are estimating. So I went ahead and rounded to the thousands place because that was the greatest place value. I know that 3,000 minus 2,000 is 1,000. So I know that Austin has about 1,000 crayons.